Oh, here we go. We're here.
Oh, Alan.
Nothing is working, my end. Nothing is working at all.
Can you hear us?
What the fuck's happening?
Alex, come in, Alex. No, he genuinely can't hear us, can he? Right, apologies that we're late, everybody. Alex has been got by the monsters, I think.
There was a point we thought Alex could quite conceivably have been murdered because we can't see him. We heard some noises that we were a little bit worried about.
But only until we cracked a joke about it. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we've been able to hear you the entire time.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not good, is it?
Yeah. We heard the shouting and screaming and everything.
Sorry.
Andrew Niles had a really good point. He said, will the fourth official add time on for the delay?
No, it won't. But I did make a new video and you'll love it. I should have put that on while we're waiting, really.
I can't see you, though. I'm really disappointed.
I know. I'm really sorry. I created a shelf. And
I need you in my life, Alex.
I know you do. But I created a shelf and I fixed everything in the office. And now when I've gone to press live, it's all gone to pot. So, you know.
Has the shelf collapsed?
No. But it isn't held up by anything other than my exemplary measurements.
By prayers and goodwill.
Basically held together the same as our defence at times.
Hey, all right.
Whee!
Starting early, isn't he? Off he goes.
It's a bit too early for the football chat.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I was having any football chat.
What I was saying was I was listening into that lower league look, which is on Twitter. And if you want to listen to it, it's all the League Two fans getting together, having a chat. And it goes on just before us. And it's not the show. But,
are you tempering your language now?
Well, it's not the show, but you get guests on, and there's obviously some bloke that's half cut, and they're all banging on. He's getting very animated about losing to Bradford or whatever it is, and I basically just said, "Oh, there's only one cup worth being in, actually, gents." And the bloke goes, "Yeah, Grimsby's great, but it stinks of fish." I was like,
"Where's he from? Wales?"
I don't know. Mansfield, apparently. But, I mean, you got to get your tongue off the floor, I think, to be able to understand and discern the accent.
Via Caerphilly, listening to that.
Pontypridd. Why is this not working? I don't want to put on the camera because, well, basic. How is everybody?
Well, I'd be better if I could see your beautiful face, mate.
You don't need to see my beautiful face. Hang on. What's connected to what?
Can't you just put up a picture of your old Plenty of Fish picture or something?
Get your LinkedIn picture up. Get your LinkedIn picture up, mate.
Did you not want that one from yesterday that my brother took?
You said you didn't know your brother took any photos when you were looking at the camera and smiling.
I thought he was. Was
that not a giveaway?
No.
You've been talking to Sam too much, haven't you? He's given you a bit of advice, like just deny any knowledge that you knew there was a picture. And if there was a picture taken, all rules were abided by when the picture was taken.
It wasn't a party.
It wasn't a picture.
It wasn't a picture. Let's see if I can find it for you. Break tabs, Windows.
Oh, wait. What you got, Bruce?
It's not even working now. Did that even come up?
Well, I saw it. I'm rather worried if you're showing us your camera roll.
My camera what?
Your camera roll.
Look, hang on. Let's just do this. Let's go to emergency camera.
Emergency camera?
You've got an emergency camera? How
No,
vain are you?
Oh, massively.
I've got my main camera, but then if that doesn't work, I have an emergency one just in case I need a selfie.
So is your emergency camera come on with like a side view or something?
Oh, don't do that, Alex. It looks like you're doing a hostage video.
Yeah,
hold up today's Telegraph or something.
There you go. Is that better? That's the closest I can get today. I'm really sorry. The other cameras don't work.
Just say we want $1 million in used notes.
Do you want me to get a voice changer on? Shut up, I told you to. Well, do we have to talk about the football?
Not yet, because we've not started. But what I can say is I now know how big that room is now we've got the other angle. And that is literally a cupboard, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the toilet's there. I could stand
there. Where you're living now? Is everything okay? Is this where you're living now?
Pretty much. Hello, everybody. Everybody say hello to everyone. Andrew says hello. Simon says, did someone nick Alex's watch? They didn't. But we're organised today. We're going to have people on from the Exiles podcast from Newport County. They're going to give us a run on what we can expect from them, because I guess the next 2 games are actually worthwhile, and ones where we can, be a bit frustrated. We'll go on to have a quick chat about Carlisle, but there isn't really much to do. Do we just want to talk about beating Southampton again?
Yeah, I think you were late because you were still on France time, weren't you? Bonjour, monsieur.
Someone tried to go, show that you're illegally watching a stream without showing illegally watching the screen. All right, Grandad. Christ alive. You don't know where I am. I'm in France. This is
could be anywhere, like the wind.
Yeah. Bonjour, monsieur.
I thought with you being an hour ahead, you might have been bloody on time.
Well, I knew what the score was, so that's why I didn't bother coming in quickly. Jack says, "What's up?" Simon wants to know if there's any news on the flag. Simon, do you know what? Let's go to that straight away. Give us our fucking flag back. Oh, no, we haven't heard anything. Southampton haven't been in touch. The last news we had is that they saw some 50, 60-year-old white bloke taking it, which really narrows the field down at a town game, I've got to be honest.
It's a good job that isn't what Grimsby is full of, isn't it?
So it wasn't Johnny Ward then?
Well, yes, Johnny Ward is the only one.
Rule Johnny Ward out.
He's the only one, and female town fans. So that's what we've got. So we would rather positively estimate 30% of town fans are female, should we say? So and then Johnny Ward. So then we've got 69% of the town.
It wasn't a kid though. It wasn't a kid. It was an older man.
It wasn't a kid. No, that's true. That's true. Hang on.
So does that rule Sam out or not?
Well, I don't know, because he doesn't look like an old man, but we know he is an old man.
They might have heard him talking, mightn't they?
Yeah. I'm actually quite worried about him. All I've seen on Twitter today is him losing his shit about Lewis Hamilton, bless him. So I'm quite worried he's not here.
Oh, yeah, the F1 chat's going to be back, isn't it, now? I forgot about that.
Mate, no, we won't be watching any F1 this year, I can guarantee you. You won't hear anything about it at all.
Right, shall we do some proper podcast stuff? We haven't even done the jingle yet.
Have we ever done proper podcast stuff?
That's because we haven't talked about football yet.
That's true. Let's do the jingle.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
They've done it! They've done it! It's Maguire Drew! They've done it again, this team!
What a magnificent piece of football!
A really, really good goal!
You can't legislate for that!
Grimsby are heading back to the Football League.
Love it. Ed says don't rush on his account, but Ed from the 1912 Exiles says he's here to do the preview. So if he wants, he can listen to 45 minutes of us talking about how Grimsby Town vanquished the might of Southampton and Grimsby Town reached the FA Cup quarterfinals. And then he can tell us how much he loves Padraig Amond and Omar Bogle, I guess. So he's in the right house. Bruce, are you all right?
Why don't we just bring him on now and just change the order? I'm good, mate. Thank you.
Do you want to? Well, this is disrupting me.
Because that's not easily done, is it?
I know.
Well, if you'd been on
that's
time,
true.
we would have thought we would have been bringing him on now anyway, wouldn't we?
If you weren't fighting off some sort of home invasion that we heard going on,
Ed's gone.
he's had enough already.
I was just about to bring him in. Come back.
He's got stage fright.
That's true. So, do we just want to talk about Southampton again?
I think we do that at the end to finish on a positive note.
Do we? Okay.
Personally.
What we wanted. Do we have to talk about Carlisle?
Yeah,
I did tell you on Thursday, didn't I?
Ed's back.
It's a game and there were 3
We
points up for grabs.
We don't have to talk about Carlisle. Ed's back. That's the man has come in to save us. Hang on. There's too much admin on this thing now. Give me 3 seconds.
Behind, so that's the final action of the game, which means Grimsby Town are back in the Football League just a year after those awful scenes that
That's 3 jingles in about 10 minutes. Ed, welcome along. Welcome to the only place where League Two cup upset teams can come to.
Yeah. Well, nice to see you all. Noswetha, how are we all? I mean, you're all presumably on cloud 9. We're kind of slightly less positive in our part of the world, but there we are.
Cloud 9's about 17th, isn't it?
You've got better wallpaper than we have, though, mate.
Yeah.
We don't have wallpaper. We don't have wallpaper.
I've got an inflatable fish.
I don't think that's strictly wallpaper, though, is it, mate?
I mean, the other one, that's all it can be used for now because it has definitely been violated at Southampton.
You can't hang that back up now, can you?
No, it's very Imio Martinez. Ed, so is that dark and desperate down in South Wales? What's going on?
No, I think we're a little bit gloomy after defeat at Salford yesterday. We've had a nice little run sort of up until that point and kind of pulled ourselves a little bit out of the bother that we were perhaps in a couple of months ago. And so in general, the feeling is probably a little bit the same as yours in terms of league form. We're fine. It's going to be a very lower mid-table season, but that's fine. There were a few nervous looks over our shoulder around the turn of the year, but I think now we're relaxing, and we just kind of want to try and finish the season with a little bit of momentum. And who knows, maybe our trip to Blundell Park on Tuesday night will be the chance to make that happen.
Well, this is a good question, I guess, because you're basically on the same points as us, but we play 2 extra games, and there are some here that are looking over their shoulder. We're going to be the first team that has to rearrange a game with Dorking because we've got Fenerbahce away. Is that not too much of a worry down with you guys? Are you?
Oh, I think we're all going to be fine, aren't we? I mean, I think I'm going on the basis that Rochdale. I know they did well at the weekend, but Rochdale are going to go. I can't see them getting the points, and then I think it's probably Crawley, Harrogate, or Hartlepool. Crawley have got the games in hand. Hartlepool are probably the ones most worried, but I think it's going to be one of those 3. That's not to say that mathematically there aren't other teams, including ours, who could be dragged into it, but I just feel as though that's unlikely. Bruce, you're going to tell me off now and say that I'm tempting fate.
Crew have lost 5 games in a row. I've just seen.
Forgive my lack of knowledge, but have you been out the league since you first got back in it, or are you just still in now from the first time?
We're still hanging on.
I know you were in years ago.
Yeah, so we since we got back into the league, we had a few seasons early on where we were finishing 22nd regularly, and then we sort of were flirting with the other end of the table and getting to playoff finals and stuff. But this year has been more the Newport County that we probably expect. I think a lot of us were slightly over optimistic going into the season, but I always thought we'd probably end up being somewhere at like 14th, 15th, 16th, and it feels as though it's that kind of season, really.
I think that the reason that I think that we would be like you and more relaxed, and I'm talking about we as in the ones that are panicking, not that I'm panicking, but because I think it's just recent history that's making us panic. I think if we were a regular mid-table League Two side, I think we'd be thinking, oh well, we could have done better this year, but some of our fans are naturally concerned because we've slipped through that trapdoor twice in the last 12 years. I think that's why. I think that's why some of them are more panicky.
But I look at Grimsby. You've got a good enough squad to keep you mid-table. You look at the sides who are down the bottom, and they've got much bigger problems, I think, than you do, or than we do.
I think you're right. I mean, looking at the table, we're 11, both of us about 11 points clear of it. We're asking a hell of a lot from Rochdale and Crawley to get basically half of their current points total in 10, 11 or 12 games. Personally, I don't actually think either of those two teams are going to get our current points total, let alone outscore us by 11 points. So I understand where some people come from on our side of things, but I think that's, as Bruce says, maybe a recent history thing.
Well, here's the major question. So, Ed, we're about to come into a bit of money. How much? Yeah, how much do I need to give you to get Bogle back?
Well, now that's an interesting question because after the first couple of months of the season, we would have said you can offer as much as you like. We're not letting him go because he showed a golden touch in the first few months and was scoring goals. Was a real fans' favourite. We were getting very excited about Omar Bogle, and then kind of autumn came and he had a real goal drought. Fans started to get on his back. He didn't respond well to that. And he was getting some real pelters from the crowd. There was a point when he was getting booed when he was coming on as a sub, and it was all pretty unpleasant. And then I think it was a couple of games ago. I think it was against Stevenage, and he started getting back in the goals, and the love is there. So we have this love-hate relationship with Omar Bogle, but there's definitely a player there. I think part of the problem has been systems. Part of the problem has been finding the right partner for him, but on a good day, he certainly looks like a decent player, and I would hope that he's got a fair bit of future still at Newport County. If I could throw a question back at you, because really I want to spend as much of my time this evening finding out your views of Ryan the Cart Horse Taylor, just kind of getting a sense of whether you finally realised that he is Bobbins.
Do you know? Well, firstly, do you want to disconnect your mic and put it back in because you've gone water bowl? I don't know. I mean, firstly, I think we can cram a fourth jingle into 17 minutes. For a long time. I can't even believe it's still there. Ryan Taylor is much loved by Town fans, I think. He's been missing for a while, and it's kind of coincided with our poor drop in league form. But he doesn't score any goals. And he's
which is sort of the point, right?
Yeah, but go on then, Mike. You can.
I think the problem we have is for the past almost 2 years, he's been quite integral to us scoring goals without him scoring them himself. Without him in the team haven't gone and scored those goals. They've got nobody up front as a presence to maybe harry the defenders and maybe make space for others. He's had a particularly really good relationship with John McAtee, and John McAtee seems to be a better player when he plays with Ryan Taylor. Whether that's Ryan Taylor himself or it's just a big guy that can actually get hold of the ball, I think both would probably fulfill that. I think he got a lot of criticism before he got injured. When he got injured, a lot of fans have now come around to the thing like, oh yeah, we actually do miss him. So I think he's gone from somebody people take for granted to now almost the Messiah. He's neither, but I think a lot of our fans have realised
he's got better the longer he hasn't played, doesn't he?
Yeah, well that happens everywhere, doesn't it? If you miss a couple of games, you become Messi, don't you?
Yeah,
overnight.
And I also spotted that you've got Otis Khan in your squad, who had a very short spell with us on loan, and again didn't win a lot of plaudits. So how's he getting on?
Fantastic player.
Yeah, he's great. He's doing really well. Maybe our expectations are lower. Bruce, what do you think?
Was that when you had your rugby pitch, or was it on a football pitch?
Yeah. That was the season before it got sorted out, I think.
I think that might be the reason why. I mean, it doesn't bode well for us. It'll be a nice homage for you. Is everybody breaking up today? Is everything breaking? Did Bruce go for you, or was that for me?
No,
yeah, he
no,
went for us
me
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Bruce, what did you say?
Which bit did you get?
None of it.
None of it. I heard mud foot tall.
You got none of it. I just said was Otis can't if it was mud, if the pitch was muddy, he was only about tall, and he would have been waist deep in mud most of the time. It's like I'm talking to three people in Ukraine. we go live to Bruce in Kharkiv. Oh, he's gone.
I think with Otis Khan though, that would really, I didn't realise that before you said, but he is a player that wants the ball on the floor and wants to use it quick. I don't think he's the sort of player that would suit a pitch that you guys used to have.
When we brought him in, it was it felt like a bit of a loan window. January transfer window gamble. They were like, "Oh, this lad sounds all right," but he didn't really fit the system, and we never kind of worked out how to get the best of him. So he looked like a player who had a touch, but he didn't really fit into what we were trying to do at the time under Mike Flynn. So yeah, it's interesting to hear he's getting on all right. I had a lot more time for him than I do for Ryan Taylor, who I am not a fan of.
So what didn't you like about Ryan Taylor then?
He was just useless. I mean, he was brought in as a striker, but he didn't score any goals, and he wasn't very mobile, and he just felt like he was kind of stealing a living, really. And we used to give him quite a lot of stick on the pod. Yeah,
this is all leading up.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He'll get.
Oh, he's got. Oh. Ed, I'm going to take you out and I'm going to add you back in because you've gone and you've gone. I'll put you back in 2 seconds just to put in. Bruce is back with a Cyrillic name. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's my Ukrainian name.
Dobrada.
I can't back it up, mate. Not without Google Translate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. We've got comments coming in.
Rub
some sheep juice on your headphones for fuck's sake. What is ABC? What is that?
That's a bit harsh.
That's racist. Don't forget to mention tickets for the Brighton game. It's going to be a stretch. Yeah, we will do, Richard. I think I've resigned myself to not being able to get one. Andrew Matthews says Khan's been ace. John Lewis says those looking over their shoulders thinking about relegation are chuffing idiots, which is fair. Taylor hat-trick on Tuesday. Simon, I'm starting to lean that way now. I've got to be entirely honest. It'll be the first time he's ever done it, but it does feel like it would be,
lump on it.
It's in the stage. Exactly. Yeah, I can imagine it happening. So what's happening now? And then who are you sort of just in the transition period, or?
Yeah, so we had a fairly bad start to the season under our former manager James Rowberry. We made the change late October, early November time, and brought in Graham Coughlin, aka Coco, who has come in, and he's a kind of experienced lower league coach and manager, and he's made us hard to beat initially, and we've ground points out, and then we went on this nice little run. February was really good for us. I think we were unbeaten in February, and we got some good wins as well. Beat the likes of Swindon, and managed to kind of pull ourselves out of trouble. And now I think we're transitioning hopefully into a team who will have a bit more of a sense of purpose around our play next season. I think we just want to finish the season as strongly as possible, really, finish with a bit of momentum. So it's not been a classic, but it's one of those. I think if you'd offered us mid-table respectability back in like October when things were really poor, we'd have bitten your hand off. And we've not only have results improved, the playing style has got a bit more bearable as well. We made a good signing in January, brought in Harry Charlesley, who had won promotion at Port Vale but had fallen out of favour. He looks like a real player, and that's given us a bit of coherence now. So it's not going to be one for the annals this season, but we've done okay. We played some all right football in latter months, and despite losing at Salford on Saturday, I think there's a feeling that we've still got a few more wins left in the tank.
I guess the question is then as well, because you're one of the few teams that has this sort of experience, given the cup run we're on at the moment and Newport's propensity to, do the same. How did your club manage the difference? Carlisle yesterday felt very much like a gimme. It wasn't going to happen. Everyone had kind of forgotten there was a game. And obviously heads are looking now towards the quarter-final. What was your experience with Newport when they were on their good cup runs, and did it affect the league runs, and what benefits did it have for you afterwards?
Well, the obvious,
money,
I mean, the money is the important thing. And also I think it does make it easier to attract good players, because you are more of a shop window, especially if, as we did, you have season upon season upon season where you're constantly doing well in the cups. Players do find that attractive. So I think we definitely attracted a better quality and caliber of player as a result of it. It did have a bit of a knock-on effect onto our league form, and one of the reasons why we were such a good cup team was because Mike Flynn could get his teams that were often quite average to raise their games as soon as there were TV cameras in town and Premier League opposition and stuff. The flip side was there would always be the hangover, and you'd have league games the Tuesday afterwards or the Saturday afterwards, and you'd have a team that was knackered or disinterested or both. But that is the reality, I guess, when you're in the fourth division and you've got limited size of squad. You can't be playing. You can't rotate the squad, and it takes its toll. But I still think, on balance, in fact, there's no on balance around it. Those cup runs are great. It is cup runs that, when you're a low league fan, give you a bit of meaning. Having those nights where you beat the likes of Southampton in your case, or Leicester in ours. You get games against, who do we have? Spurs, Man City, West Ham, Newcastle. You remember those nights, and you don't necessarily remember away trips to Carlisle in quite the same way. So I think you just have to drink it all in and make the most of it. And if it has a bit of a knock-on impact on your league form, then that's just part of the deal.
I think we'll live with it. I'll be entirely honest. What did you use the money for? There was definitely, it helped with some work on the pitch and a few other infrastructure things, but mostly we spent it on players, some of whom perhaps were not the best investments, but we're a little bit more hand to mouth, I suspect, than you lot are. We rent our ground from the rugby club. We are a fan owned club, so we needed those cup runs to kind of pay the bills. So it was a different situation, I guess, from perhaps where you may find yourselves, where you've got a little bit more control of your own destiny and a bigger fan base. We're buying a speedboat.
Yeah.
There was a genuine conversation about taking a boat down to Brighton earlier, which was quite a good one. But I don't know whether or not that'll happen. It's very hard to find a ferry to rent. Who'd have thought it? Can't get it on Google. You guys got anything to ask? Because it feels like Newport and Rochdale are the two games we're sort of really pinning a few hopes on in terms of getting some points, really. Are you coming into the game expecting much from it?
When we did our last big sort of pod, we looked ahead to the three games we had coming up, which was Salford away yesterday, Grimsby midweek, and then we got Bradford at home on Saturday. I don't think any of us expected to get much from Salford. I think Grimsby is probably the one where we're looking at and thinking, midweek, your eyes are slightly on your cup exploits. I think there was a slight sense that we could sort of sacked off Salford on Saturday once we realised it wasn't going our way. I think we might really go for it on Tuesday night. I fancy us to maybe go and get something from it. And then, if we can get a draw against Bradford, happy days. So I think we will look at that game against you guys as 3 points that we want to go and win. So I don't think it'll be a pretty game, but I think it's going to be one that both teams are hoping to get a lot from. I definitely think you'll get 3 points out of Rochdale. So, please do.
Well, that's put an end to that. Thanks, Ed. Cheers, mate.
Was it what against Mighty Rochdale, who we got the winner from in 95 minutes?
2-0 Rochdale incoming now, mate.
Yeah, but Ryan Taylor's getting a hat trick, so it's not too bad. Bruce, what were you going to say?
What do you just obviously you're sort of lower mid-table this season. What do you think realistically your ambitions can be for next season? Do you think the playoffs is quite a big push? Do you think you're still somewhere sort of upper mid-table maybe would be realistic, or do you think you can? Will you go in with more optimism than that?
Well, the great thing about this division is everyone can kid themselves in June and July that, well, if we have a good run and we bring in a couple of good loanees late on in the window, we could make a dash for the playoffs. Everyone can try and persuade themselves of that, and I'm sure we will be no different. I am a realist, and I think we're a relatively small club. We're fan owned. We aren't especially attractive for up and coming players. Mid-table respectability in the 4th division, and being a fan-owned club who runs itself the right way and lives within its means. Virtue is its own rewards. I'm relatively happy with that. I'd love a cup run again because it's been a while since we've had one. But yeah, mid-table will do me as long as we play entertaining football, which hasn't always been the case this year. I'm fairly happy to win a few and lose a few. And I suspect it'll be the case next season. I think we'll maybe be a little higher than we have been this year, so maybe we'll be more towards the top half than the bottom. But I can't see us moving up a division anytime soon. We had a chance to do that under Mike Flynn. In fact, we had 2 chances with playoff finals, but we just never could quite find that kind of killer blow. And I think that is just the nature of some of the size of some of the teams you've got in this league. You look at the top. Orient going very well, Carlisle, but then you look a bit further down, you've got the likes of Swindon, Bradford. There's some big teams around here that we do well to compete with, but to overcome all of them is asking a lot.
I think what we struggle with as a fan base as well is we've lost more games than I would like this year, and we'll obviously come on to yesterday in a little while. But I think
we won't.
We're not used to being mid-table for as long as I can remember, barring maybe the first season or we came back up into the out of the night. We've been either struggling in the league or we've been top of the conference. I mean, how many seasons can you two remember where we've been sort of comfortable in League Two? It must be, we maybe had one season, the first season we came back when Hurst left, but
season.
Didn't we start to struggle after that? And then before that, you're going, the conference years, we had 2 11th place finishes, but then we were always in the playoffs after that. Before that, we were 3 or 4 seasons getting worse and worse from about 2007, weren't we, to get relegated? We haven't been mid-table really consistently for years and years. And I think we do struggle with that because we're used to, winning most weeks in the conference or previously losing most weeks in the league.
It definitely creates a sort of anxiety amongst the fan base, I think. And I think most fans are, massively up and massively down, end of the world when we lose, we're the best team ever when we win. I think it's amplified at Town because that's usually the case. Either we're God's given gift in that league or we're the worst team in it. There's never any middle ground. And I don't know, Bruce, maybe we've been too into it. Even in the Championship, we're always fighting relegation, weren't we?
Yeah, I can't think. Yeah, I mean, you go back even further. Sorry, Ed, this isn't really your thing, but yeah,
you go back therapy session.
You go back even further though, and 2005-06 under Slade, we were good in for promotion, and then before that we did have a season of consolidation in Slade's first season, didn't we? But then before that, like you say, we'd been struggling. We've probably had 4 or 5 mid-table seasons in 25 years. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, really.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people thought because we came up, we're going to just like either be up there or down the bottom, and being in the middle is just something, as you say, we're not used to. And I think from our history, I mean, the Slade first season was my first season, but from our history, we've never been speaking about consolidation, rebuilding, and progressing. It's always been hand to mouth under Fenty, I think. And now we're talking about get up, consolidate, and then we can build something and progress. We've never had that. It's always been, right, are we going to survive this season or are we going to go up? There's never been a long-term plan. And with a long-term plan, there's a middle bit, which can be a bit boring. Maybe.
This cup run's come at a perfect time to, like Jason said the other, we're going to earn over £1 million from this. That's going to give us a massive shot in the arm next season.
Well, he said it's all going into the playing budget as well, didn't he? So he said
speedboat.
It's all going into the playing budget.
We're getting 3 jet skis and a speedboat. That's it. Just going to be wondering. That's all it's going to be. The camera at the upper finish is going to cut to the River Humber, and you're just going to see 3 or 4 guys just doing some pirouettes and stuff on the river.
They'll be going to 2 weeks hot weather training camp in Dubai, and they'll just blow the lot, won't they?
Yeah, we bought so much in duty free. You should see how many Toblerones we got in the Jason.
I do think we've been incredibly lucky, though. I mean, if you look at that playoff campaign, that was amazing. You'll never see the likes of it again. And we got out of the National League. But I tell you what, if we were still in the National League this year, you'd not have a chance. You look at Notts County and Wrexham, you wouldn't have a chance.
They're both predicted to get over 100 points.
Yeah, and one of them won't go up. But it's bonkers.
Please let it be Wrexham that doesn't go up.
I was going to ask, is there much rivalry between you and Wrexham? Because it's like a different part of the world.
Well, so there's a lot of different factors at play. One is obviously, that we begrudge them their money and attention and success, but we begrudge them that before they had the Hollywood owners, because there's always this slight sense of, the South Wales media love Cardiff City and Swansea, and the North Wales media love Wrexham, and then everyone forgets about Newport County. So we've got a massive chip on our shoulder about that. Then you add in the fact that we don't really have a local rival. The older members of our fan base feel a residual hatred towards Cardiff City, but that really isn't reciprocated anymore because they've got Swansea and Bristol who they actually play.
We're the same with Scunny.
Yeah.
Feel sympathy towards them.
Yeah. So we haven't got a local rival. I mean, a little bit we used to with Hereford when we were in the conference with them, but again, we've not played them for years. So the only sort of rival we've been able to artificially create is against Wrexham. And so there is a genuine dislike between the two. And it was quite fun to beat them at Wembley when we won promotion from the conference. And we've since then played them in the FA Cup and thrashed them, and that was good fun. I think there's a slight worry that if they make it back up into the league, that next year the boot might be on the other foot.
How long does it take to travel from...
ages.
Do you have to come into England to go up a boat?
Yeah, they've got to use our roads. It's disgraceful.
To get there by train is about 3 hours, and you pass lots of other closer clubs on the way. So,
someone over here driving
as a local rivalry, it doesn't work.
No, well, I love it that you hate them. That's great.
You're welcome, Ed. You're welcome.
Well, there's a lot of love for you guys and for Stockport for keeping them out of the promotion hunt last year. So we're ready to love Notts County as well if we need to.
Stockport
we did it all for you, Ed. It was all for you.
Stockport and Wrexham have an incredible rivalry. It's still bubbling now. And it's only going to be revisited this year if Stockport don't go up. Well, if Wrexham don't go up, that'd be hilarious. Because either team, I'd still find it hilarious whether Wrexham or Notts County don't go up. Because Notts County, it's a good away day for us, but they were a bit Billy Big Bollocks when we played them. And Wrexham were a little bit, and I've more begrudged them this season as this FA Cup run has gone on. And we've beaten Plymouth and we've beaten Luton, and we got the square root of fuck all attention until they left. It's like we've literally got less than they have. How is this the story? And it's just very lazy journalism. It's like, we might get to meet Ryan Reynolds, so let's go down there instead.
If you look at now, looking at the National League, you look at it now. You've got Boreham Wood in the last playoff place, which are 30 points behind second place. So you imagine if Notts County go into the playoffs and they lose to a team that are 35, 40 points behind them. That's got to hurt, hasn't it?
Mm.
Well,
I see
we
John
ask
in
them?
the.
It happened last time, so shall we ask them?
We finished 17 points behind Stockport, didn't we?
We did, yeah. It was a long old way.
35, 40 points, a lot more, though, isn't it?
Well, on the video, wasn't it? What was it on the game against Rex? On the game against Wrexham, the comment Adam Summerton said, didn't he, that they'd scored something like 35 goals more than us last season or something.
Yeah, but we scored as many of that in the playoffs. Oh, well, Ed, I've got to let you go because we're going to have to talk about Carlisle, I'm afraid.
Can I just say, just on the point of Carlisle, because we lost up there 2-0. It was a freezing cold day. I took my son, who's been wanting to make that trip for ages, and it was freezing cold in January. We were completely like frostbitten. We lost 2-0 after 2 defensive errors from our back line. It was a rubbish day out. It's a long way from anywhere. It's particularly a long way from Newport. But I came away from it thinking, perhaps the same as you did, that Carlisle, like it's not that they were a especially good team, but they were just a really like well drilled, knew their job, just basically treated it as like a routine home win, find a way to beat these. And I came away and thought, you know what, they're probably going to win promotion. And if we have a bad season, it's not going to be defined by losing 2-0 at Carlisle. It'll be defined by results we fucked up elsewhere. And I would hope you have a similar kind of balanced view of it, that it's just one of those you can't get too down about. It comes back to what you said earlier, that sometimes after defeat you can get too hyperbolic about it all and think it's a disaster. I don't think losing 2-0 at Carlisle is any great shame. I just think they're a well drilled side.
If it wasn't for Wednesday's result, people would have gone off the rocker. I think Wednesday's result was a few people like, well, I can't quite go that far just yet.
Paulus is giving himself 6 weeks before people are calling for his head as he leads the team out in the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City, and there'll be a Hurst out banner in the corner.
I tell you what, if we lose on Tuesday, there'll be one on that flyover again.
Well, you're getting it ready again.
Yeah, Bruce is putting it again.
Oh man. Oh, Ed, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the season. We shall see you next year.
You will. You will.
I'm just trying to work out which of our strikers you're going to get next. Do you reckon Christian Dennis? That's a good shout. Wes Thomas? I don't know if he still plays.
Oh God, Wes Thomas. There's a name I've not heard in a long time. Do you know what? Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Owen Windsor. What are you going to ask,
right.
Bree? See you later.
No, nothing. I was just waiting for you to say farewell to Ed, and I was going to say bye.
See you later, Ed. Pleasure to
Cheers.
see you.
Enough with that.
Cheers, mate.
Bye. I said good night. Or good evening, I think. I don't know.
Good evening and good night.
Right, Carlisle. Okay. I didn't really know there was a game on. I watched it. I thought we were all right for the first half an hour. We were comfortably the better team. And then Hunt made a mistake, which, I mean, given the fact that he was involved for the majority of the game on Wednesday night, I think it's relatively unfair if we give him pelters for it. And then Danny Amos gave, whoever it was, the freedom of the city to took the second away, which the referee should have stopped the play because it was a head injury, but we had more than enough time to deal with it between there and then, and you play to the whistle. But it's the age-old story. If we don't create enough, even though we're relatively comfortable on the ball, and the other teams are quite happy for us to have the ball because we're not much of a threat.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm going into the game, making all those changes. I think the writing was pretty much on the wall. And unfortunately, you have to make that amount of changes because another point we might want to go on to is our ridiculous schedule we've already had and the ridiculous schedule we've got coming up. So there needs to be a point where we bite the bullet and make some changes and rest some players. And maybe Carlisle away might have been the best time to do that with Newport and Rochdale coming up. Although I still think it was a team that was good enough to win. I said on Saturday that, Hunt losing the ball there, you can't be too critical of the lad because, he's trying to play football. And we've said consistently, we want to try and get somebody on the ball and try and do something a bit different. Now, if we're going to do that, there are going to be occasions where we lose the ball and it gets turned over and teams score. Now, unfortunately, it happened against Leyton Orient as well. But I think that affected him because he was having a good game until then, and so was most of the team. I think once that happened, he didn't want to be on the ball, or when he was on the ball, he was making a lot of mistakes. So I mean, hopefully that doesn't continue. But you want to see a team try and do something different. And I think for 40 minutes of the game, it's a similar story. We're much on top against a well-fancied, higher rated side in this league. We've gone behind because of a mistake or defensive error. And we're at half time behind. I think the key bit in that game was that second one before half time. I think that completely sort of kills it at half time. In the other games where we've gone behind against better teams, it's only been one. Only takes a second to score a goal, and it's been easy to come back in it. So I think that second effectively killed the game off. But going away to Carlisle immediately after that trip to Southampton, it's a lot of air miles in the legs, and it's going to be the game you're going to lose. So I don't think we didn't expect it. I don't think we were overly poor. I just don't think we were great. But not too bothered really in the grand scheme of things. I think it was entirely predictable.
I don't like losing. I don't like losing games.
Well, I don't like it, but I'm not. It's not. I've not lost any sleep over it.
I just think that, and I'm not gonna. We've said it before. I can think of 3 or 4 times this season probably this year, where we've given the ball away on the edge of our box and somebody's killed it in the corner, and we don't.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of these players are going to have to stop. Are going to have to step up massively next season and cut out the mistakes that they make if they want to be part of what we are next year. I just think we make too many mistakes and we don't score enough goals. And that didn't change yesterday, and it was the same old. You can have as much as the ball as you want, and then you don't score, you miss opportunities, and we're being punished at the other end in the league. And we're so inconsistent. And I like Mike, I looked at that team yesterday and thought, this is all right. And somebody's just put on there, the loan lads haven't stepped up. Have we really? How many of the loan signings that we've made this season would you say would have been in the team if we were a top of the table side? Not many.
Just Emmanuel. Well, I guess he doesn't count, does he? He's not a loan player.
I don't think anybody is there.
Yeah, but I think these loan players are here. The loan players are here, in my opinion, because we couldn't get the better quality permanent players. So it's like they're not here to make us that good. I think they're here to cover the lack of players we got in.
So we did have a bad window then, did we?
I don't think we had a bad window. I just don't think we had a good window. I think we had a meh window.
Who did we sign? We only signed Emmanuel and the loan players, didn't we?
We signed Emmanuel, O'Neill, George Lloyd, who's looked all right, and Dixon Peters, who had,
So apart from, so we didn't really have a very good window then.
But we didn't have a bad one. I don't think. I think we've done all right.
Where's Sam, Alex? Can you bring Sam in for this to comment for Mike?
I think a lot of the loan players are exactly the same as the loan players we've had before. And
I think they are this season. I don't think the loans have been great for us.
I think George Lloyd's got a bit more about him. Sorry. I think Lloyd's got a bit more about him.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I just don't. He works a lot and he works hard, and he's an archetypal purse player. But he doesn't. How many opportunities did he get yesterday? And I think that's a lot to do with the midfield not being up with him. But I also think it's an opportunity. He's too young, and maybe in 3-4 years he'll be, the player that will break out somewhere, or he might just do an Owen Windsor and disappear off the face of the earth.
He's not that young though, is he? Is he 22, 23?
He's quite old.
But
for a lone player, sorry.
But yeah, I'm not going to.
He's 90.
I'm not going to. Yeah, the old 84 years gif will come back in a minute. But I like I say, I don't like. There were 500 Town fans went up yesterday, and it's a bloody long way, and it's all right, Yes, they're saying we had a cup game, and they would go up there knowing that. But yeah, I just don't like losing, and I think it does. I think it puts a bit of pressure. It's saying that we're gonna, we needed to rest some players, but effectively we're holding back the rest of the lads for Tuesday and Saturday, and it puts a bit of pressure on our not very good home form.
And it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I wonder how many of those players that were in the team yesterday were, have been banging on the door during the season saying, I deserve a spot, I deserve a place to Hurst. And under that performance, they've got an opportunity. Apart from what Crocombe, Fete, and who else played? Hunt. No one else started. Is that right? Am I right? Am I missing anybody who started in the game yesterday?
Made 7 changes, didn't he?
Right. Yeah.
There must be someone else then that I'm missing.
Ma.
Okay. Yeah. And so the likes of Khan and the likes of the Lone Lads, that's their opportunity to, you know, push on and make a show of it, and Lloyd as well. And I'll tell you something, if I'm Danilo Orsi, however much, you know, I enjoyed Wednesday night and was part of it, I would go, why the hell am I not starting every game for you? As long as I'm alive, why am I not up front? Because I'm the only one that seems to be able to create it. Lloyd isn't here for a good time. He's not here for a long time. So why am I not the one that's up front leading the line with McAtee, who again isn't here next season? So do you want to be looking at elsewhere? Because he's not. I mean, that touch on Wednesday night would suggest he's not got his eye in necessarily. So do we want to be? Who else do you put in there? Taylor's more likely to be here next season than those two.
With Orsi, I'm not sure it might have been in the squad, because Paul Hurst pre-match said there was 1 injury, and then he said after the match there was 2 injuries and they had to change it. And Orsi had travelled
11 injuries,
but Orsi had travelled up with the squad, so he was there. So I'm wondering, was it like, why are you taking him if you have no intention of putting him in your 18? So I'm wondering whether he was pulled out the squad a bit early, a bit late.
I'm assuming they all travelled, Mike. I don't know for sure, but they were all staying together in Southampton and then going straight up to Carlisle, weren't they? They used it as a bit of a bonding trip, didn't they? So I would imagine that they all went
with work colleagues. No,
I'm not going to dwell on yesterday, though, Alex.
No,
I do think it puts a bit of pressure on our next 2 games.
And I think they need some pressure because, I mean, granted, at least season ticket holders will be first in the queue for the quarterfinal tickets. But if you are one of 6,000 people who've bought a ticket this season, you haven't necessarily been rewarded with entertaining football at times, have you? And we don't always expect to win, but I think only Rochdale have a worse home record than us, and that's not acceptable. So a couple of guys coming in. First half, we were playing with 10 men. Not sure what was going on with Dixon Peters. Didn't seem like he wanted the ball more. Did he run much? Must be better than that. Stephen McDade said Hurst made the right call. Rested players, and I've seen what the other players can do. They've made it a lot easier for Hurst in the terms of future selections. They have, and I mean that's a shame because I'm sure he'd rather much have a selection conundrum rather than, well, those guys can't cut the mustard. Ollie Mott Hodson says McAtee was the only player I think didn't cover themselves in glory on Wednesday. I like to think collectively they were fine, but okay.
Sorry, Alex.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I know Paul Hurst and other people bang on about it a lot, but I mean, not until this week I actually looked at our fixture list, and it has been bonkers, and it is bonkers to come. So there is going to be times where they need to rest players, because players just cannot keep doing this Saturday, Tuesday, and especially with the exploits in the cup, you're gonna start losing players. So I mean, I don't blame it at all. I think it has to happen. There has to be times where players are taken out just to be fresher.
And then Andrew Matthews comes in with a decent point. Scannell hasn't played again. So if he's not worth playing, then why is he here? Like, you get to a point where I think we've been very supportive and very helpful. And he looked great in a couple of games, but it's only a couple of games. And if he's not here, then maybe it's time to move on, unless he's getting coaching badges and they want him to stay on, I guess. What do you think about that, Bruce?
I just think it's very odd. He's sort of dropped. He's not in the squad anymore, is he? So no, it's really odd whether they can't get him to the levels of fitness that they want. I mean, there's no reserve football, is there? So where does he get his match fitness?
Maybe he's got sorry.
You're not going to send a player of Scannell's age out on loan, are you? I don't know. It's a very odd one, because once he got his fitness back, we could have released him in January, couldn't we? And said, look, we've done our bit for you. Go and get yourself a game for 4 or 5 months somewhere. It doesn't even matter what you're earning. Just put yourself in the shop window in the National League or something. But we kept him on. We extended that contract. So it is odd that we've not used him. Really odd.
Maybe he's got an outlandish pay-as-you-play contract. And it's £25,000 to play him. So we're like, nah, we're not doing it.
It must be a fitness thing, because when Paul Hurst came in that window after we got relegated, he was one of the surprising ones he kept, and offered him. I think either offered him a new deal or extended it or didn't get rid of him. And he made comments at the time about how he was a good influence around the squad. So it won't be an attitude or something. It must just be his fitness. So obviously Paul Hurst sees more than us. Surprising though, he's been on the bench an awful lot. And if you're on the bench, surely you need to be coming on for 10, 15 minutes and you're capable of doing it. So I'm really surprised we've not seen anything from him.
Yeah.
Has he been on the pitch this season?
I can give me 30 seconds.
I think he might have made 1 or 2 very small cameos, but
no, he was on the pitch on Wednesday, but all trackied up, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think you were going to say he's doing like a John Terry.
No,
he's made 1 appearance.
Yeah.
And that was against...
Is it Mansfield next
Salford.
Tuesday? A week on Tuesday?
Yeah, so we've got the Monday off after the Brighton game and then a game on the Tuesday.
No, sorry. Who have we got midweek next week then? Have we got a free week?
Sutton's moved to the 14th, hasn't it? We did have a free week, and now we've got Sutton.
What do we reckon then? That I would pick the strongest team for the 2 home games, and then rest a few for Sutton, if you've got the right results. Do you think, so that they have a week off before we go to? But then, having said that, they've got an extra day's rest, haven't they? Because we don't play till the Sunday.
I mean, effectively, I think the next 3 games he can pick whoever he wants within reason, because he's given them. They've effectively had nearly a week off by the time they play on Tuesday. Some of these players. So I think the next 3 games you can pick your team, and then you've got, again, you should be able to cope with a few of these games. It's just the fact it's constant every single week. There's going to be times where there has to be a block of a week where somebody has a rest, because they just can't keep doing this.
But I think we've got a squad deep enough. And I think Stephen Bidet said he'd love to have seen Pearson play yesterday. I agree. I think him over Marr would have been absolutely fine. But Marr, I think, he's getting better. I had a couple of question marks over him at Christmas time, but I think he's growing into it. Tacklebury said Orsi didn't play due to his back injury after Southampton, which is fair.
Could have been killed.
Yeah, it could have been killed. Absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, it's interesting, and he's got choices to make. But I'll tell you something. There are certain players out there who must be biting their tongue they didn't come and join us and are now not in the shop window. And I know we did touch on this last week, but I've been thinking about this ever since the last pod. I mean, I can't overestimate how big a thing I think it is on Wednesday, not just for the financial thing, but, you know, Paul Hurst is talking about the head of recruitment making video packages up and stuff. I mean, Christ, you've got a good 5 minutes worth of a package from the cup run and the fans and things. I think a town like Grimsby needs the exposure, and it's like what Ed says, it needs the exposure to be shown in a good light, because if you don't know anything about Grimsby, your opinion will be negative. So we need that exposure. I think it's been great for it against Southampton. We should have some more of it against Brighton. And I think that, coupled with the money, will really set us up to have a decent shout at being a little bit better at signing some more quality players next year.
I've always been quite. I've always preferred watching sport on the BBC to ITV, but I thought watching back, have we got Ali McCoist on a retainer, because he loved the town fans. I mean, I've watched it again and on fast forward.
I watched it the second I got home.
But
we did. I messaged you.
It was, but I mean, all you could hear all game was the town fans, and it was so loud. And I've seen some videos from the other end at the end of the game and stuff. And
incredible,
even at the other end of the ground, it was just ridiculously loud. We were brilliant. I can't remember us being that loud.
Can we credit the drummer on that as well? Because he did an incredible job, I thought. And I know I tweeted it out, but it's worth.
Yeah, he kept us going, didn't he? And he, you know, when he starts drumming, you join in, don't you? You know, but I just thought, and there was a nice mix of songs as well. You know, we get a lot where we just sing Mariners, and we don't have.
They don't last, do they?
And we don't have Fenty anymore and that sort of thing. But I thought there was
anymore.
But we had a real nice mix of, you know, there was a mix of fans, and I thought it was brilliant on a Wednesday night how many kids there were there. You know, it was like a Saturday afternoon game.
Hang on,
you know, I think everybody had just taken. Yeah, I think everybody had just taken the kids. You know, it was like, this is a once in a generation. Well, I don't know what it comes now in the quarterfinals. Sorry. You know, it's unreal, isn't it? I mean, we said it on Thursday night.
Are you gone? Bruce, we beat Southampton and we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
I know.
It's absolute madness.
It's mental.
Would you ever imagine it?
and now we've got 4,600 of us going down to Brighton.
Yeah, but the whole night was just incredible. Mike, we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
Are we?
I mean, I just have to keep saying it. I just have to keep saying it. Well, no one has a clue.
I must say, I was gutted.
Of Southampton.
I was gutted Southampton won and scored after they missed that penalty yesterday, because I had that fella giving it the ready to go on Twitter.
Do you know what? I am surprised the club has not put a Harry Haddock and a football shirt on Ali McCoist. Like a little bit of good publicity on that. Surely there's got to be someone that can help with that.
Send him a Harry. Mine's
John
dead.
Lewis. John Lewis says the drums drop the chance, racing away at 1,000 beats per minute, and enables more than one round of the song. Absolutely. More of him. Carl Tasker needs to be given, a season
free tickets.
Top right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Top right. Get him going there, because that's exactly the reason. I think our the amount of away fans we take has not changed from 2015, 2014, but the quality of the away fans have. And I think that is a lot down to a fair few drunk idiots, a couple of mates, who go together and make the songs. But also we had a really decent drummer. I think it was Gilly who did it, but it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people. We're staying outside of Brighton. We're staying near Gatwick somewhere in a Premier Inn, because Brighton was ridiculously expensive. But Maisie's happy because she gets to play her game on the Saturday now, and then we'll travel down after that. We've got about 10 or 12 rooms booked in a Premier Inn somewhere. So even though we're not in the middle of Brighton, we'll be having a few beers in the hotel bar, which should be good. You're our closest representative, Mike, aren't you? You're not far at all.
No. I'm hour away from that.
Yeah, but Mike, are we going to get in? Nah.
Hey, speak for yourself. I've got a few options.
Oh, have you? Oh dear, I haven't even got one.
One's theft. Climbing over. I don't think I'm going to climb over.
Oh dear.
I'm just going to high-vis steward's jacket, and it's all about the confidence. Just if you think you should be there, they'll let you in.
Simon, Littlehampton isn't that close to Brighton. I mean, it's a nice place, but it's not that close. It's closer to Portsmouth.
Isn't that outside New York, Littlehampton?
No, that's the Hamptons. Littlehampton's near Selsey and Bracklesham.
It might be a small Hampton. I don't know.
Oh, it might be Arundel, isn't it? It's sort of that way. Anyway, it's interesting. We'll get in by hook or by crook, Mike. Even Steve McDay says the exposure's been incredible. Sky here, even in Italy, did a report on town. I've just managed to butter up 2 season ticket holders who aren't going. I just need to find one more. Thanks, John. You didn't need to find me one, but please do.
That's still not going to guarantee a ticket, is it?
No, I need to go and WhatsApp one of mine and see if he's decided yet.
I mean, it's going to be great. And look, if you can't go, and as I said, I've resigned myself to not going. There's far more deserving people to go who watch every week. If you went and watched that Sutton game live, I think you're allowed in front of the queue. But it's going to be. I hope we just, I hope there isn't too much kicking off about tickets and stuff, because once in a lifetime sort of game, and it's a shame it's at a small club like Brighton where there isn't that many tickets available. If it was at Man United or something, everyone would probably
don't you get 9,000 at Old Trafford or something in the cup?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we're getting
what, 4,700. Let's not go there. I was
semi-finals.
I do think it'll get to 1878 holders.
Do you reckon?
I reckon it'll come off season tickets. Will get to 1878. I think we'll sell out quite easily and quite quickly. I just don't think it'll be immediate. I don't think we'll sell out in 2 days. I think it might be 3.
I just think if we had no restrictions, I think we'd take 10, 12,000. I think you're looking at National League final sort of thing.
This is an unprecedented.
But then when you sell that
many,
it's a long time build up and people make decisions late. I think about 5,000 is probably the hardcore. The rest will be people that will make a late decision or might not now bother now knowing that there's a limited ticket number. I don't think there's 10 or 15,000 people that will be chomping at the bit to go.
I don't understand. I can't understand we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. I cannot understand any Town fan that is able-bodied and can afford it and not at work would consider not going. To me, this is like a Wembley final.
Mike, we need to boo Simon here. Boo.
Not a West Ham final, Mike. But I can't. I just can't understand it. I just think if you can go because and take your kids.
It's never going to happen again, is it?
Well, not for a couple of years maybe, but it's just so special. And I mean, I was a bit down at first, and then, like I say, I looked at I had to sort of bring myself round and say, we're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Last 8. Where's Liverpool? Where's Spurs? There's only three.
He's gone in to win it, Mike.
Oh, he's gone big and he's gone early, hasn't he?
We're going to win it, Bruce. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the song says we're going to win the cup one day, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. One day. What are we going to do with that song? Fling it out of the car window as you drive out Wembley.
We'll just insert the word again.
Okay.
We're going to win the cup again one day.
It's just we struggled with changing the word to the Football League to up the Football League. So I'm not sure we'll be able to do again. But yeah. Oh, man. It's unbelievable, and I don't think we've done it near enough justice. Andrew Matthews is trying to bring everyone down. Brighton are in really good form. Andrew, if in 2001 I turned around to you and said, we've got an opportunity to get into the FA Cup semi-final and all we've got to do is beat Brighton, you would be rubbing your hands together. Basically, we're there.
It's a while ago, mate. I think 1 or 2 things might have happened since then.
Some things might have happened, but class is permanent, isn't it? Class is permanent.
I tell you what, we're a couple of dodgy decisions away from a semi-final at Wembley. I tell you.
Exactly.
That's all it is. How much dodgy decisions?
You think if we get Paul Joyce or whatever his name is, Ross Joyce, and he's coming back to make amends after his fuck up at Bristol Rovers. And you go, I'll give you a penalty early on. I'll send him off. Don't matter if it ruins the game. You guys deserve it. And then, we're off to the FA Cup semi-final.
He's giving red cards out to Brighton players like Hooper does ours. You get a card.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're on the way. We're going to win it by default, 3-0. It's going to be like FIFA when your little brother loses his temper.
Well, if they've only got 8 players left, don't they default the game? That's what I think is going to happen. I think Luke Waterfall's going to wind him up. Also, he's going to get assaulted again.
Ollie's right.
Easy.
Brighton are playing for places for the Town game. That's why. Absolutely. Just the honour of playing against us. That's the thing.
And let's be honest, West Ham do not have Luke Waterfall.
They do not have Luke Waterfall. I mean, granted, we do, and we're still 17th, but that's irrelevant.
You're just one little step away from pessimism, aren't you, Alex? One sentence gets you right back there.
One step, yeah. I'm not well.
I'm just thinking if Paul Hurst thought that Southampton could beat us 10-0, what he thinks Brighton could do.
Yeah. Could you imagine coming away from it? All I can imagine is that Mike Bassett half-time speech. We're 2-0 down to the fucking Seagulls.
Grimsby lost 4-0.
Yeah. I don't think we'll have a repeat of Chelsea though. I don't think that'll happen.
If we're 1-0 up in the 90th minute, I can see another scene from Mike Bassett where he runs up with that added time board with the 0 on it.
Sod that. If we're 1-0 up, if we're 1-0 up with 2 minutes to go against Brighton, we're having a scene from the Grimsby film where the bloke goes up and sticks a firework up his arse.
Yeah, then we'll have the scene where we're dancing on the bar, won't we?
Yeah.
But to be fair, that'll be Saturday night in Brighton anyway, won't it?
And then the first scene when the open top bus goes the wrong way and it's going down the A180.
A broken rib, a couple of broken legs. Oh no, that's just the Brighton players. Kieran Green's fine.
I'm just waiting for for Shearer's comments on co-commentary when Ali McCoyce invaded the pitch from behind the goal when we score.
Yeah,
carted off by the old Bill. Is that all right? That's Ali McCoy, you know.
And Colin Murray. Colin Murray's a massive Town fan. He absolutely loves us. Okay.
Right, my wine's run out, Alex. I'm gonna go. I need to go downstairs, mate.
I think we're done.
You're in the right place for a good wine, mate. Yeah, I tell you.
That's true. But look,
can I ask, where have we developed this music from?
I just nicked it. It's quite good, isn't it? Yeah. It was my pumped up. I thought we were going to dance and stuff because we won, but no.
Very refined, this podcast. Very refined.
Yeah, it's very refined. Do you want me to play the flag appeal again?
Breaking news. There's no flag news.
There is no news.
No, I think the flag's still missing, and you'd like it back.
Please, can I have the flag back?
Speaking about that, have you actually spoken to Southampton? I know nobody's probably interested.
I messaged this. Yeah, I emailed the SLO. Oh, hang on, I haven't checked the emails to see if Southampton have come back to me properly. I do know a scout.
Breaking news.
I do know a scout at Southampton.
Does he just come in possession of a large rag?
Kayla can't help you.
Anybody listening?
Oh, hang on, here we go. Yeah.
Could you tweet Southampton and say, where's our flag?
They haven't. So hope you are well. Unfortunately, we've had no flags handed in. However, sometimes it takes a few days for lost property to turn up in the main reception as the stadium is swept and cleared.
Their steward,
if it's found.
Their steward gave it to somebody.
I mean, as a souvenir, could you imagine? It's going to be in their museum.
But no, if one of their stewards is giving it to somebody, you know, that's handling stolen goods, aiding and abetting. There we go.
All I've got is this image of Laurie McMenemy leaving Southampton wrapped in the flag. Right, we're going to get off. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. As a result, we're getting a little bit more attention than we normally would. So if you could do your best, even if you listen to this live, download it on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever, because apparently we get adverts put on this at the moment for fishing, and it's made us a whole $16.
Do people listen to this shit?
Yeah, apparently so. So do that. Can you also give us a review, subscribe to it on YouTube, do all that sort of stuff that influencers ask, because it does apparently help with, making some cash, and we can put it on behind the bar because we've got some special announcement to come up soon.
Or we can buy a new flag.
Or we could buy a new flag or a jet ski, because I'm not 100% sure Jason's fully on board with the whole speedboat thing.
Those reviews could go one of two ways.
Oh, well...
What's it Kieran Maguire says on the Price of Football?
Well, yeah, he had a fight with a Scunny. He was having a fight with a Scunny's new owner, wasn't he?
Love it. Love it.
Oh, absolutely love it. Right. See you all later. Have a good time. Download the podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
They've done it! They've done it! It's Maguire Drew! They've done it again, this team!
What a magnificent piece of football! Really, really good goal! You can't legislate for that!
Grimsby are heading back to the Football League.
Love it.